Hey guys, Mr. Zanakis here, and I just want to show you how to upload a custom title block. And we're going to go ahead and create our first multi-view drawing from a part that we've made. So after you've downloaded the drawing DWT file from Google Classroom to your Chromebook or to the computer, know where you stored it, probably in your downloads folder. You're going to want to go ahead and retrieve it. So go ahead and log on to Onshape. And then we're going to come up here under Create, and we're going to Import Files. You can go ahead and select the DWT file, the Seneca title block, 11 by 8, 11 by 8.5, excuse me. All right, upload complete. And really what that did is it just brought, and there's another copy, I've already had it up in here, but it's added to your registry in terms of on your Onshape file. And then that's going to make that accessible for later when we go to try to create an actual drawing file. So go ahead into your document that has your part that you want to create the multi-view drawing. So I have a part here that I've modeled previously, and you guys will have to be modeling this as well. But for right now, you're probably going to be starting with the part that you created in class using the cubes. So here I am in the part studio, and I'm looking at the actual part. And we're going to be creating a drawing that will look like this. It's a multi-view. Now this is a standard title block that comes with Onshape, so we're going to do something different here. And we won't be doing the dimensioning today, but that'll follow up with another lesson. So here we are back in here, and what you want to do, move this out of the way so we can get access to our plus symbol. Okay, so I want to actually add a new drawing file. So you have Part Studios where you do the three-dimensional modeling. Here's another part Studio 2. So those are just the default names. Okay, there's assembly file, which we'll get to later in the year. And then there's drawing files where you can actually document and create production level drawings. So we want to go and plus and add here. We're going to create a drawing. Now, it'll probably be right at the top from what you was just brought in. If not, you can search. You won't have as many in here to be as confusing. Under recent, okay, but here it is, your Seneca title block. In fact, let me just go under Onshape, retrieving templates. Okay, here's all the standard templates that come with Onshape. Go to my Onshape. Let's see who we got here. Several different versions of the templates that I had created. And here is, in fact, the Seneca title block 1. So if it's under recently opened, you may have to browse around a little bit to find it. So if I go under my Onshape, I believe it was the second one. Okay, Seneca title block here, 1. So I'll click that and I'm going to hit OK. Now, what's embedded in this title block is it actually was created, and this is why it's a template. It actually pulls in information from the drawing files itself to help populate the title block. So the first thing it's asking you to do, you're trying to create a drawing file, is that what part do you want to actually create from? So if you have multiple part studios, you'll see them here, and you can expand them to click on the actual part. So this is the part that I want to make a drawing of. Now, when you first go to place it, the base view is the first one that you're going to select, asking you what view orientation do you want to place it at and what scale. So this front top right view, this is all the things that we've been working with. And typically we're going to start with your front view. Again, how you modeled it in the part studio, you need to be conscious of this. It's as you drew it in the model space, what is the front view? So front view is what I want. It's suggesting a 1:2 scale, which will work well with the space that I have, so I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead and just left click to place that base view. Now, it automatically, you can see what's highlighted up here is projected view. So from that base view, you can just pull off and go straight up, and it will place a top view of that part. Okay, I'm still in the projected view mode here. So if I click on the base view again, I'm going to project and pull off to the right. I can go up diagonally to create the isometric, but let me give you this. I have a top, front, and now I want the right view. I just drag off to the right. Again, with this highlighted up here, I can click on the base view again and then just pull off diagonally, and it will give me an isometric view of my part, which is nice. Now, to get out of this projected view, I don't want any other projections here. I'm just going to hit escape, and you can see that it is no longer highlighted, so I'm out of that command. Now, to modify any of these particular views, okay, you can right click and go to view properties, and you have these options to adjust and change these things. Now, notice that it says the scale is 1 to 2 and that it is a parent, okay, meaning that it came off of the original scale that was projected from here. So if I wanted to change the scale, let me go right click, go to view properties, okay, I can change the scale of my front view. If I wanted to make this all of them scale. Now, these are all changing automatically because they are based off of the parent view. They were all projected off of this one view. So they're linked together. And you can change that after the fact, but for right now, this is all we want. So I'm just going to go with the 1 to 2, which is what was listed as my overall scale for the sheet. I'm fine with that. Now, the isometric view is nice. This is what you see here is what's called a wireframe. It just shows you the edges of the object. But with the isometric view, I think it's nice to actually add some shading. So if I right click and show under show hide, looks like they changed some of these features from last year. So show hide will be show shaded view. And that gives that the shading where it gives it a little more of a 3D realistic look to help appreciate what the object looks like. You really only want to use the shaded view for the isometric. You don't want to use shaded views for your multi-views, the two-dimensional orthographic views here for your multi-views, because you're going to show more detail on these, and eventually we're going to add some dimensions. And when the object gets shaded, you lose some of the detail. Okay, so only a few more things left to do here at this point. We need to add the hidden lines and the center lines. So again, right click, go show and hide, and then say show hidden lines. And what I'm picking up here is that cutoff that happens right there and the cut that happens right in there, showing beyond the view that I can see here. Again, I'm going to right click up here to show the hidden line, and I should see that hole that pops through right there. Now you can see the hidden lines. That dark line there, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, this straight line here was really this part of the end of this curve feature here. So the hidden lines are showing the boundaries of the edges of the holes that are going through this bracket. And last over here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. Right click, show hidden lines. All right. Now, the only other thing that I want to do here, eventually we'll get to dimensions. If you're zoomed in, if you double click your wheel mouse, it will zoom extents and get everything out so that you can see everything all at one time. Up across the toolbar here, there's some different options. All right, so you have these 2-point center lines where you can click on points and it will create your own center line. You can place it custom how you want. You have edge to edge center line. So again, a center line is defining for holes. You wouldn't use a center line for something that is a square opening. You only want to use it for holes. And then from the front view of a hole, you're going to want to place a center mark. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to do that. I think it's probably the easiest if you click on the center mark and then click on the hole in the front. It gives you a little crosshair there, and the center point of that circle. Again, when we get into dimensioning, that's how you locate holes, is based on the center point. And then I want to use the center line edge to edge. So when I zoom in and I look at this part up here from the top view, I'm going to click on this edge and this edge, and the software adds the center line of the hole. Again, this edge to this edge, and I have the center line. And then over here on this view, we're now looking at it from the right view. It's going to be here to here, which is defining the boundaries of the hole that's going through there, and the center line was added. Now, because that curve ends there at the exact same point, it kind of gets a little muted out and looks like a solid line, as opposed to what it should be is a long dash long for center lines. It's long, short, long. Hidden lines are even short lines, breaking up the space to define where changes in material are happening beyond the view that you can see. All right, so a couple of things I just want to point out about the title block, since I have you here with this as well. This name for the drawing file, right? So drawn by me, the date that it was created, the last time this drawing was revised or saved, the scale of the overall sheet, and the part itself. All this information gets pulled in automatically. Okay, you can manually adjust and change. We get out of the center line command again by hitting escape. I can adjust that by double clicking in there. And let's say we call this demo, whoops, of multi-view drawing. So I can give the drawing a description of what was going on here, or a project, or whatever the case I may be. This is a field that you can manually adjust as needed per the project. This drawing too is actually pulling in the name of the drawing tab right here. So if I right click and let's rename here, we'll call it MV Drawing. Okay, enter. And you see it automatically updated there to MV Drawing. And then this part number, all right, if I go back into the Part Studio, if I wanted to rename this and have a specific thing, right now we should only really have one part. In these Part Studios, you'll have the ability to add multiple parts, where it can keep tracks of these parts separately. So naming these different components, we'll get into that later on the year as we progress. So let's call this, hinge -01. Hinge -01, hit enter. Now when I go back into my MV drawing, okay, it didn't update automatically. However, I do have this yellow, this just became yellow, it wasn't before. And so this is the update from the workspace. So if something that's being referenced by this drawing externally gets changed, when you come into the drawing sheet, this will be yellow. It's just telling you, hey, do you want to update this? So click it, it should update, and you can see that the part number has changed. If there were any actual physical dimensions that changed, the drawing would automatically update. And I'll demonstrate this more when we get into dimensioning. But that is your first multi-view drawing.